Hey, gang. So it's been a week since the Nintendo Switch 2 was revealed. We watched it live, and I've taken the time to organize my thoughts a little bit, and there are some developments in the meantime. Um, my leading thought is that price point, especially for Canada, of what, 629.99 or 699.99, depending on the bundle. Which the bundle with Mario Kart World is probably the one that's got the most value. But 700, well, actually, when you add the taxes, it's probably going to be closer to like 750, 800, is bananas for a console with a game. Now, I love Nintendo. Don't get me wrong. I've loved the Switch. I grew up with the NES, the Super Nintendo, the N64. I skipped the GameCube because reasons. I just didn't get one. I was a PlayStation kid at that point, and it just didn't have the opportunity. Um, so I will get a Switch 2 at some point, but the initial launch price is something. And the bigger size, it looks nice. I love the fact that the Joy-Cons are magnetic, and you don't have to slide and click, and because those damn things could break if you looked at them sideways. But just looking at the specs, like, in a perfect world, I would love Nintendo to just take their games and put them on PC. Like, they would make an insane amount of profit, and it would make all of us happy. They won't, of course, because they are in the console business. They need to sell their consoles. But, like, come on. As anyone who has grown up with the internet knows, a lot of us have played their games on PC already through various means. So obviously there's an appetite for it, there's a market for it, and it's not gonna stop people from playing or buying Nintendo consoles. If anything, it might promote them to do that if they can get the back library at least on PC. Remasters of various games would be fantastic. And yes, they've got the virtual console, and it's a money-making vertical for them to buy a membership and then the expansion pass to get the things. I know, but like, come on. The Switch 2 having an LCD screen instead of an OLED, that's interesting. I'm sure if they had an OLED screen for it, then the price would have gone up another $50 to $100, maybe. It's hard to say. I like the storage capacity is definitely improvement. I've heard talk about the micro SD cards being just a matter of code, so there's some controversy that, like, okay, so they need to be faster access. I don't think that access speed is going to make that much of a difference, but I suppose it depends on the games that you're putting on it. The price of games, oof. Like here in Canada, a lot of the Switch games that, like, some of them have been $100+. I believe the Zelda ones in particular were up there, 100, 120. And the disparity between physical and digital games are expensive to make. As a person who, has been in the game industry on and off for 18, 20 years, and currently back in now, helping to make a game, games are expensive to make. I get that. Making physical copies of games, however, like getting your game and putting it on a physical copy, I mean, mass producing it, yes, it has a cost. But digital game, like digital delivery, I don't know that they need to be priced that high, but I get it. Is this going to affect Switch 2 sales? Absolutely. Gosh darn lootly. I'm trying to be more kid friendly for this video because I know a lot of parents and a lot of kids are looking at Nintendo stuff. So I'm trying to modulate. And of course, going off of all of that, I liked everything that I saw about the Switch 2, other than the price. Their version of sharing is fantastic. The digital sharing of one copy of a game is great for families. I don't necessarily see like friends, maybe close friends who live nearby each other, could pass a game around for 2 weeks, but it's great for families. You can have one lead console that you buy the games and then you can distribute them to whichever kid wants to play it at any given time. That looks fantastic to me, but that's assuming you're going to buy more than one Switch, and at that price point, that's probably not going to happen for a couple of years. And the fact that they've got their own play together system, like Steam's, for multiplayer games, that's great. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That you can kind of justify some of the price because they're adding in that stuff, I guess. But still, in Canada's case, $100 games is not going to sell well. It's just not. I guess we have to touch on the whole thing with the pre-orders being paused in the United States. That's due to the tariffs, and that's because, well, they have to adjust the price for whatever the tariffs are going to be, and unfortunately, the tariff amount percentage could change at any time, depending on what the current regime's mood is. So they can't accurately set a price for pre-orders with tariffs added or some percentage of tariffs added, or they could eat the cost of the tariffs, which might be the smart thing for them to do, but that could be significant. Or they're waiting for the Japanese government to, actually multiple countries' governments to negotiate to get their tariffs relief because of where they get Switch 2 manufactured. All of those tariffs are going to apply. So that could be insane. Say they get components from Vietnam with a 46%, the 26%, I believe, that's on Japan and South Korea, and the mind-boggling amount that's on China at the moment, which could go up, could drastically affect the prices of Switch 2s and, well, all kinds of electronics in America. So they can't accurately price out what a pre-order would be, because you could pay your pre-order, those tariffs suddenly drop, then they have to refund you a portion of what you spent for the pre-order, assuming you pay for the whole amount. That's going to be difficult for them to price out, so I get it. Anyway, just looking at the specs for the Switch 2, I think I'm looking forward to it. I would love to have one, but I think I'm probably going to have to wait until there's a price cut or two. The nice thing is that they're going to still be putting out games for the Switch. They may not run as well and be as pretty as the Switch 2 ones, but in this economy, The other thing I'm curious about that I haven't seen information on yet is the upgrade kits that you need for games to take from Switch to Switch 2 if you already own them, like Tears of the Kingdom and things like that. You need to get an upgrade pass. I'm very curious on how they're going to price that. Uh, I I don't like the idea. I mean, I get it, I guess, but it's basically just an enhanced patch. So a free upgrade would definitely garner a much more uh, support from the Switch buying community rather than making us pay for a game we already own. Even if it's like $20, it's still significant considering how much we'd be paying for the console to use those upgrades on. Putting an additional fee on top of that, it's not exactly a good look, Nintendo. Maybe I just don't like spending money like that, but it's something to be aware of. So yeah, I'm interested in the Switch 2. I'd like to have one, but like many people, it's a wait and see. The launch shows, I'm interested in a Forza version of Mario Kart. I think that'll be interesting. That doesn't prompt me to buy one. Metroid Prime 4 or whatever the title escapes me. I've never been big on Metroid other than the first one or two that I played, so forgive me for not remembering the title. It looks fun, it looks great. It's not something that inspires me to buy a Switch 2. I know there's some third-party games that are coming out that will be out on release date of the Switch 2, like the new Rune Factory and some other ones. Still doesn't prompt me to buy a Switch 2 when I know I can get those on PC. So I don't know. They need to announce something significant, some exclusive, really amazing game that really prompts me to do the things.